All right, back with Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop and joined in studio now by Springfield Alderman Shawn Gregory. Always good to have him on, especially when they're ready to do some city business tonight with the Springfield City Council. Alderman, thanks for taking time with us this morning. How you doing?
Always. Good morning.
Good morning. So last week was a 3-hour meeting. For me, I mean, at least in the mornings when I do the council roundup, it's like, oh boy. Yeah. But being in it for 3 hours, definitely a lot of business that was taken care of. One of the things was this issue of youth empowerment zones. Yeah. And in particular, you're looking at, and it got approved ultimately, a measure that takes over some real estate. I guess just give us an overview of what that issue was and how that's part of the broader youth empowerment zone that you guys are looking at.
Well, we've been at this for some time. We met with some groups in the community. Recently, UCP, or United Cerebral Palsy, had been bought out, I believe, by Spark. And, those buildings have been vacant since then. And, so we started working, some meetings together with different organizations, just really seeing what we could do. One of them used to be a community center way back when I was young, that was across from the John Hay homes. So there was one in the John Hay homes, and then this one as well. It appears that the city used to own it. So we got to toss some thoughts around, like, hey, let's turn this back into this, and then we partnered with the Park District, and some real nice developments with that pump track, and the fitness center, and some developments with that. So the empowerment zone encompasses more than just the buildings. It's just that whole area. And the final anchor that we want to take a crack at down the line, once we get all of this put together, is Chamberlain Park, to really give more of a campus feel for youth and teens, and even young adults and our seniors to really have a space to do multiple things. And with having the Salvation Army and the Boys and Girls Club near, you have some anchors.
Well, and I was going to ask about how this works in with other community groups like the Boys and Girls Club of Central Illinois. We're actually going to be talking with Tiffany Mathis a little bit later on today about their golf outing coming up and all the opportunities they have. So kind of walk us through that. This was brought up last week. There's already these community groups set up. Is there, the terms used, cannibalization? If you're going to eat into, the particular space of one area, does that diminish that particular established group's capacity at all? Are there those concerns, or is this more of like a collaborative effort that's bringing all these parties together?
Well, we deemed the term, me and the mayor, that we're really trying to not overlap, but fill in the gaps. And, there's some gaps in our community for some time. We've had several groups come to us who do good work in our community, who were looking for some type of situation. So when this came about, the goal is to really work with, several grassroots not-for-profits, these groups are supportive of the current groups, and the current groups are supportive of this. In fact, there was a time where we have had these meetings with different groups, just to get a feel of what they're doing and how we can work with our grassroots not-for-profits to help this violence prevention thing, youth empowerment, youth mentoring thing that we all have a goal and set out day in and day out to accomplish. So not in any competition. It's really working partnerships together, and we look to grow the very organizations that are reaching another population of kids. Everybody has their population and pockets of youth that they work with, and they all do a good job. And there's some areas for people to help, and people want to do that. So with some of the funds and resources that we come down to, why not create a space unique for our youth to enjoy as well?
Why is this so important? And getting activities. We hear the term idle hands or the devil's plaything. So talk about the significance of this, especially for impacting youth at a younger age to get them whatever they need to become productive members of society.
Well, it's really important as we see, a lot of stats that are not particularly proud stats rise in our community. Aside from poverty and youth poverty and education, we want to have a mix of education and recreational activities. The first building more have the educational component. The old public health building, depending on what we can do with it, we want that to be more of a mind, body, and soul center, where there's multiple things that can be done in there. And then finally the recreational portion, which used to be the old center. So this is really, really important to give additional help and resources to the problem that we all recognize that we must put all the investment that we can into. There's a lot of funds out, so we want to take advantage and really create something unique. And this was a really important win. We've been working on this, like I say, for a year, and there's been some heated community discussions. Government moves slow. I wish it moved faster, right? But thankfully, we had some, big time players that believed in this. Senator Turner, Representative Sue Scherer, they both came through and really, helped out funding wise on the state level, which really, really helped us move the ball forward to purchase the buildings. Now we'll go back to our groups and we'll put together the programming and we'll come back with that plan and really create something special to add to the very good work that everyone else is doing.
So we'll watch that closely and see how this collection of community groups focused on youth are going to get things in line to best provide those services that youth absolutely need, especially as it starts getting warmer out there.
Absolutely.
Alderman, I think you mentioned you're going to be out doing a lot to yard work. I've been out doing yard work on my own yard, but you're out doing other people's yards and getting it all ready. But the summertime also brings about the possibility of pop-up parties, the possibility of youth that don't have anything better to do, getting into trouble. So what are some of the things that I guess the community can do to help keep that from happening?
Well, we want to engage. One of the things that we do have coming up with the Park District in the second year of our partnership is, we have a young man from the community and his crew, so to speak, that will be running various programming activities. The pump track will be slated to be done hopefully the fall. So I would just encourage the community members to really, really tap in, and whether it's the Boys and Girls Club, whether it's the Teen Empowerment Zone, whether it's the Urban League, Freedom School, whatever, just to really go in and help and be an additional resource. The best way to lead is by being with those who you're trying to lead. I fully believe in that. So, a lot of times, I go out to the corner stores, or I'm in our community because I want to be a resource and I want to be available and where people can touch. So for those of us who have something to offer to our youth, don't hold it. Let's give it, because now is the time more than ever that it's needed.
Shawn Gregory, Ward 2 Alderman, with us here on Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. And, of course, we'll have the council roundup tomorrow morning to unpack everything that happens tonight at the Springfield City Council Committee of the Whole. Alderman already got word that you guys are going to get some ward maps. Of course, the issue of redistricting was very contentious at the Illinois State House, multiple lawsuits. A lot of hand-wringing, and it just was fraught with politics. What do you anticipate seeing tonight? Have you seen the maps already? And what do you want to see happen when it comes to new ward boundaries for the city of Springfield?
Well, I mean, for me, I represent the majority minority ward. So I don't anticipate my ward changing too much, maybe a couple of blocks to the southwest, maybe. There. But, for me, I'm confident to represent, wherever constituency is I could represent out west, and fight just as hard for people's purposes once I learned, what was important to people. So, for me, I just look, to represent the constituency that elected me and be a voice for those who haven't had a voice for a long time, wherever that may be. And, we look forward to reviewing those tonight.
So we'll see what happens there. But of course, Alderman, you have a relation to Frank McNeil.
Absolutely.
Right? And he's been instrumental decades ago bringing about this aldermanic process that we have in the city of Springfield now, where it used to be people would be elected citywide, and you would get various elected officials that didn't necessarily represent those areas. So knowing that history, and of course your relation to Frank McNeil, how does that help you moving forward with what you laid out there about how you could represent whoever you want, or whoever elects you, just as long as you better understand how they feel on issues? Talk about the importance of that, especially looking back on the history, a recent history. I mean, what was it, the 80s when that happened, right?
80s. For me, I serve this, position with great pride, because of what those before me have done. That was a great moment in our city's history that can't be overlooked. So as we go forward, we want to hold true to the great work that not only my Uncle Frank did, but the gentleman that was with him, Mr. Washington, Mr. Veal, and et cetera. I don't want to leave anyone out, but all of them were important just as well as joining that. And can you imagine in 87, standing up in a time where it wasn't so popular to stand up and really fight against a system that had been in place for a long time. So it gives me a great sense of pride to continue that effort, to represent the goal that lawsuit did do. It gave more representation. I try to make sure I use my voice and don't hold back, because it's the voice of the people, and give a true thing. And just with me and my uniqueness of just being out and being a normal working guy, I'm not sitting in the office all day. I'm out with the people, struggling, grinding every day. So I try to take all of that, especially for the community I represent, and I really try to take that to council, and sometimes it gets lost in emotion. So I try to control that, because there is a lot of emotional times when you're pushing for a change. Within a system that may not understand, and so that's my responsibility.
Well, and I think too, we wouldn't have as vibrant of a council. Absolutely. If it was all citywide elected. I forget what they were called back then, but they were like commissioners. Yeah. Thank you. They were commissioners citywide. Yeah. They didn't come from the communities that had all of these important issues that needed to be addressed, and I would imagine that that didn't make for really vibrant, deliberative city councils, which is what makes, I think, Springfield unique. You have 10 people on a horseshoe, you have the mayor, and everybody has an opinion to represent their members and their constituency. So Alderman Shawn Gregory will definitely be watching tonight with the Springfield City Council, and we'll see what happens with those ward maps. Always good to see you, and we'll see you soon, all right?
Yes, sir. Good catching up with you.
It is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 90.